Hi guys, my name is Chad Trofgruben. I am the founder and content creator for IncredibleTutorials.com. I have teamed up with Smith Micro to bring you these brand new Anime Studio 9 tutorials. So let's get started. The drawing tools in Anime Studio Pro are quite powerful and give us lots of freedom when creating objects and characters. This tutorial will go over all the tools you see in the drawing panel on your left toolbar. So let's get started. The Select Points tool allows you to select certain points on the canvas. As an example, I am currently in the eyebrows layer of this character. By taking the Select Points tool, I can click and drag all the way across, surrounding the eyebrows, and then release to select the eyebrows. I could also select a certain chunk of an eyebrow if I wish. And if I don't want to use a rectangle selection area, I can choose lasso mode, which will now allow me to freehand draw a selection area so I can choose what I want on the canvas. And if you want to organize your selections, you can always create a group. To do this, go to the top of your software with your selection currently selected, and then type out a name for your group. In this case, I'll just use the number 1 for simplicity. Then hit the Create button. Now, if you go to Select Group, you can see that the number 1 is located under the groups. That will always allow me to select the group whenever I need to. And if I ever need to delete a group, I can hit the Delete button. Finally, if you want to flip your selection horizontally or vertically, you can use the 2 buttons on the end. For horizontally, and for vertically. The Translate Points tool allows us to select and move points. We are currently on the nose layer on my character, so if I take the Translate Points tool and click on the edge point here of the nose, you'll see that it highlights in red. This means it is currently selected. From there, if I hold down my mouse button and drag around, you can see I am altering the position of the point as well as the shape of the nose. At the top, you can alter the position of the point with X and Y values. X will move the point horizontally, Y will move it vertically. So just enter in a number to shift the position. Auto Weld and Auto Fill are also options you can consider when using the Translate Points tool. With these 2 options selected, if I click and drag this point up to the first point, you'll see that it will auto weld, and when I release, it will also auto-fill in that shape depending on what I have selected in my Style panel. The Scale Points tool allows you to resize a certain group of points. So if I come over here to my ear, which is on my ear layer for the character, and if I click on one of these points, I can't really do anything with it. However, if I click right in the center of the ear, all the points will become selected and I will now be able to resize the ear. This option will typically work if you have a very basic shape. If you have something that's more complex, you may need to use the Select Points tool. Now with all the ear points selected, I can come to the corner here and resize the entire object at once. I can come to one of the sides and squish in and resize like this. Or I can go to the top and bottom and squish the ear like this. At the top, you have the ability to resize numerically. Also, if you want to resize a certain group of points on a shape, you can also take the Select Shape tool like you would if you wanted to select the entire thing, and just select the shapes or the points that you want. From there, you can take the Scale Points tool and resize the ear from those points if you wish. The Rotate Points tool allows us to rotate selected points on the document. In this case, I am focused in on the layer that contains the eyebrows for this character. By taking the Rotate Points tool, I can come over here to one of the eyebrows and click in the center to select the entire object. This will work for basic shapes. If you have a more complex shape, you may need to use the Select Points tool. Now with all of these points selected, I can click and drag to rotate the object. You can do this with only certain points, so if you select, let's say, the corner points of the object, you can rotate those individually from that of the other points of the eyebrow. Finally, if you want to adjust the rotation numerically, you can do so at the top bar. The Add Point tool allows us to draw objects by adding points to the canvas. For instance, if I take my cursor out here and want to draw a nose on my new layer, I can click and drag to start creating a line that is positioned between 2 points. If I release, you can see that we have those 2 points in play. If I continue on and click and drag from that second point, I can continue to keep adding points to make a shape. Now if I want to fill in the lines for this shape, I can take my paint bucket tool and then fill it in. If, however, I want to complete the shape on my own, I can go back here to the Add Point tool, start from the last point, click and drag upwards, and since I have Auto Fill and Auto Weld selected on my top bar, a shape will automatically be filled in. And the colors and line width are dictated by the Style panel. Finally, if I wanted to add sharp corners instead of rounded corners for the Add Point tool, I can select the Sharp Corners option at the top, and then add my points down, and as you can see, they are now sharp. The Freehand tool is similar to the Add Point tool, except that you can freely draw as if you were using a pen or pencil. To demonstrate, I have made a new layer to create a nose. Now I'll come over here and start by holding down my left mouse button and drawing downward. You can see I am making a shape or a line that is freely drawn without any points to go by. However, if I release my mouse button, you'll see that we do have points actually being laid down. So from here, I can just keep drawing and finish off the nose. You'll also notice that my lines are tapering from the start and finish of each stroke, and all that can be assigned in the Freehand options box. Finally, Auto Weld and Auto Fill and Auto Stroke options are available for this tool, as well as Auto Close, which will automatically close an object without you having to touch the end or beginning points. But with the 3 auto options selected, I can come here and draw upward and close the object off, and it will automatically fill in as well as auto weld the object to complete the shape. Again, this is similar to the Add Points tool, except that it gives you a more natural drawing style. The Draw Shape tool allows us to draw a variety of different shapes. When you select the tool, you'll have the option to either draw a rectangle, oval, triangle, or any of these other shapes. With the oval selected, I will come down here to my character and click and drag to start drawing out an eye. Now, if I wanted a perfect circle for an eye, I could come over here and hold down my Shift key and then click and drag to draw out a perfect circle. The same methods can be applied for all shapes. Finally, the Auto Fill and Auto Stroke options that are now checked will ensure that your shapes are automatically filled in according to what you have set in your Style panel. The Text tool allows us to type out text, which will then be converted to either a vector shape or a text layer. To use the Text tool, click on its icon, and a new window will appear. From here, you can type out your text, find a font that you want, as well as adjust the fill color, stroke width, and a bunch of different options. The 2 checkboxes here indicate if you want to create a text layer or a shape. A text layer allows you to come back to the text layer and edit the text in this window. A shape will act as a vector layer, allowing you to morph it and alter its points as if you were looking at any other vector shape. Finally, there are some options below that will allow you to change the text into a text bubble. This can be used for a comic situation. From here, you can adjust the balloon settings, and as you can see, there are many to choose from. Once you have made your settings, click OK. From here, we can then move the text bubble around and alter it. And again, since this is a text layer, I can always come over here to my Layers panel, double-click on that text layer, then go to the Text tab to alter any of the properties of the text. The scatter brush allows us to paint a bunch of preset vector graphics or custom copied graphics to the Anime Studio document. So in this case, I currently have the Bubbles option selected. And when I go to my canvas and just click and hold down my mouse button to draw, you can see I'm creating a bunch of different bubbles. You have options here. If you go to the scatter brush options, you have the ability to adjust the angle jitter, spacing, color jitter, and so on, as well as flip the X and Y. So you may want to check out those options to add some variety to your scatter brush. You can also adjust the minimum width and maximum width for the brush. Finally, as I said, the brush comes with a bunch of presets, as well as the ability to use your own vector graphics. In this case, we have bubbles, insects, landscape, and so on. Or we can use the clipboard option. Before I started this lesson, I copied a simple vector graphic from one of my characters. So now, when I paste this, you can see I am pasting a bunch of shoes from this character. The Delete Edge tool simply deletes a line between 2 points. So if we click it and come over here to my face and just click on this line, it will delete that line between this point and that point. Of course, this makes the object no longer enclosed, so the fill breaks. But this then gives you the option to go back in with one of your drawing tools and reshape the face however you wish. The Curvature tool alters the curve of the selected points. So for instance, if we take our tool and come over here to this point on the eye and click and hold down, you can see that we are altering the way it curves. Going out makes it more rounded, going in makes it more pointed. You can also come up here to your top bar and choose presets. For instance, you can make it peak, which it's currently at, or you can make it smooth. So peak and smooth. Finally, if you want, you can alter a bunch of points at once. So if I take my selection tool and highlight these points, and then grab the curvature tool and just alter this, you can see that since both eyes are on this layer, I am altering all the points. The magnet tool acts like the translate points tool, except that it uses a magnetic circle to determine which points will be moved. So if we select the magnet tool, you'll see that we have a big circle here. And if we come over here to the eyes and click and drag, you can see that since those points are in the circle, they are being affected. If, however, I change the magnet radius up here to, let's say, 0.1, it's much smaller now. Now if I try to move these points, you can see that only the ones in the circle are being affected. The ones outside of the circle are not, and the ones that are closer to the edge of the circle are being slightly affected. The Perspective Points tool creates the illusion that the selected points are being rotated in a 3D environment. So as you can see, I have this eye selected in all of its points, and by taking this tool, clicking and dragging, you can see now that this portion looks like it's coming towards the screen, while the back portion looks like it's going further away. And this is what the Perspective Points tool can do for you. The Shear Points tool creates a shearing effect for the selected points. So with my nose selected, I'll come down here and click and drag to the left to shear this way, and to the right to shear this way. And of course, you can do all sorts of different things with this effect. It just depends on how you want to use it. The Bend Points tool allows us to create the illusion that we are bending the selected points. So taking the tool, I'll come down here to my nose and just click and drag this way to create the illusion that I am bending it from the bottom. You can also do other options as well, like going like this, you can go like this, and so on. It depends on your shape and it depends on where your points are located. The Noise tool creates the illusion that there's noise going on in the film, or in other words, it makes your lines wobbly. So if we take the Noise tool and come over here to my nose, and just click and drag to go this way, you can see that the lines are becoming more distorted and more wobbly. And this is what the Noise tool does. And with that said, that wraps up this lesson on the advanced drawing tools in Anime Studio Pro. If you have any more questions regarding Anime Studio, please check out the official Anime Studio website. Thanks for watching, guys. I have many more Anime Studio 9 tutorials out there, so check them out, and I'll see you next time.